Yeah. I mean, you could always accelerate that with some psychedelics, I guess. I don't know if you're.
Maybe, maybe,
Have
maybe.
you
I
have you
think
done any experimentations with those?
yeah, I have experimented. I'm not a regular psychedelic user. I enjoy the crisp, clean purity of just my natural consciousness. I
Sure.
really value it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's three experiences I've had with ayahuasca, three
Oh
with
wow.
LSD, three with DMT over the past 14 years. And yeah, man, and I've had good and bad experiences with them. And like so many other people, I know hundreds, if not thousands, of people that use them to a small degree, some to a large degree. And I've used psychedelics as a powerful tool.
Mm.
And any tool that has power can be constructive or destructive, just depending on your psychology, the setting you're in, the reasons why you're using them, not the reasons you tell yourself, but the real reasons why you're using them. So, I think psychedelics can help. They have the potential to help accelerate the journey inward. And I've seen many people use psychedelics in a way to escape themselves,
Right.
yet they rationalize it as self-growth because, like, look, psilocybin, it's now in the new age community, this is a medicine. Yeah,
Mm.
you're using it like a drug in order to escape your own sense of self.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah. Yeah, it's and people can't usually tell, I imagine. I went through not a drug experience, but I decided at quite an early age I decided to book a one-way ticket to Argentina. I was living in Canada at that time, and I used it, I thought, was as a self-growth. And then I did look back and I was like, I didn't enjoy the time that I had when I was in Canada. I dropped out of university. My first business failed. It seemed like more than ever when I was booking that trip that I was using as an escape. And not that it was a destructive thing. It still helped me grow. But I think as soon as I started to embrace that I was continuing to travel through exploration and growth, it was so much more fulfilling. And it allowed me to, I guess, make the most of it. Um, Whereas I think when you're escaping, you're just trying not to think about something else rather than try to find new things that you can really dig deeper into.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. I think escaping can be, I'm trying not to think of something and I'm trying not to feel what I'm feeling. Whereas going into oneself, it's let me feel what I'm feeling more.
Yeah.
Let me get in touch with more of me and let me open up to more of my consciousness, which can be in the form of new ideas or things we've been avoiding. But yeah, in most of the native traditions that I know of using psychedelics, part of the built-in protection from abusing these substances and therefore, you know, impairing our self-growth rather than enhancing it, they would have a guide, a
Mm.
shaman. And I think I'm glad people are getting more and more access to psychedelics. I think it's ridiculous they've been outlawed. Yet one of the shadows of that is now most people use them without the guide. So they don't
Mm.
have someone who's a step ahead of them, let alone 10 steps ahead of them, to help them see their blind spots and say, like, Sean, you've been tripping on LSD every weekend for the past 6 weeks. You're you're not using it in a way that's helping you find yourself. You're using it in a way that's helping you lose yourself now.
Mm.
So your psychedelic right now is a clean mind. It's sobriety. That is your step of growth now. So one of the challenges is that most people use them without a guide. And I don't know for certain, but I do question whether or not it's in people's best interests to use them without a guide because
Right.
we don't know. And the problem with our blind spots are they're in our damn blind spots. And we all have blind spots because we're humans. So, I have so much respect for the power of them. I've seen construction and destruction happen, and I care about people. That's why I always advocate guidance, like legit guidance, not just Doug the molester shaman who's got a good hookup for the substance you want. Like, hey, yeah, that's not your guide.
Right, right. Well, what was your experience with? What was your first experience with ayahuasca like? Would you do it in Peru
I was
or
in
somewhere?
Costa Rica,
Costa Rica. Okay, gotcha.
and my first experience with it, I would call it a very beautiful experience. It wasn't life changing, but it was very beautiful, and a phenomenal shaman, this wonderful lady singing the Icaros and guiding us. So much integrity in the ceremony. So it was a beautiful experience. And then what was it? I think it was a year and a half later, I had my second ayahuasca experience, the same shaman, Costa Rica, and that was life changing. Way deeper, way more profound. And man, yeah, that was, you know, I wouldn't call that enjoyable, though there were times of, immense bliss. Yeah, uh, I would also say the scariest experience of my life was during that ceremony as well.
Whoa.
So there was just like so much involved in that ceremony, yet coming out, the other side. Here, even looking back, it's been just over a year. I can see like, wow, I've changed. That was life changing for me.
Whoa. And what do you think the difference was between the first and the second one that had much more of a profound experience?
Yeah, the dose.
Wow.
So, so many of the variables were the same location, same shaman, and but the second time, because she had already worked with me, her as my guide, she
Mm,
saw it fit that I was ready for a bigger dose. Um, and I love that. If I was left to my own accord, like, I'm doing ayahuasca on my own, okay, bigger is better. But
yeah.
there's just you. My experience is I can let go and trust and have a much more beneficial experience if there is someone to trust.
Yeah.
But if we don't know what we're doing, it's actually a mistake to trust ourselves with guiding the ceremony. In my, I get a little opinionated.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like a multiple day retreat, or I don't know what you would call it, but yeah, you would sleep there and you would really go through the whole experience.
yeah, yeah. As opposed to show up for a few hours and then get the
Yeah,
hell here.
gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I'm sorry to pick on this. I'm so curious because it's something that I would like to experience. I was actually planning to do it within the year, but I mean, with everything that's happening, I don't know if it's the best time. But yeah, I'm just so curious for people that have done. You've done it 3 times, you said.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. And do you feel like it's much different and more impactful than doing other ones like LSD or DMT, or do they have similar effects?
You know, um, it's certainly different, yet the effects, the benefits. I would say ayahuasca has been by far the most beneficial that I've experienced. Second on the list, and LSD experience would be, that was very profound and meaningful, not just
Yeah,
enjoyable, but very meaningful and enriching. And then uh, my DMT experiences, the three of them I've had, um, I never got tangible benefit from them.
sure.
The first one was like, whoa, that's cool. But like that's cool. I wouldn't call
Wasn't
that
crazy.
benefit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I had a really horrendous DMT trip that was definitely not cool. So I in hearing some of the common pattern, a lot of what I pick up is other people reporting in their own way. DMT is a hell of a rocket ship.
Yeah,
Yet, as far as getting personally beneficial, life enriching, life changing experience, Usually you don't hear people report that from DMT. Usually that's more in the ayahuasca realm, which, DMT is what's active with ayahuasca. It's just a much more longer drawn out experience than the 10-minute blast off with DMT.